the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
For those physically demanding jobs, you need footwear that you can count on and a name that you can trust. Hi, Teresa here from the Fargo Red Wing Shoe Store. Stop in during our Ultimate Fit event where you can find incredible deals to keep your feet comfortable and safe. Stop in now through March 17th for the Ultimate Fit experience and receive $10 off orthotics. Plus, don't miss the buy two, get one promotion for socks and accessories. Red Wing Shoes, the ultimate choice for those who work hard. Visit us today and experience the difference at 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Red Wing Shoes for ultimate durability.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. That is going to be our Guess Our Sound later today. If we have time, we have some Sportsman Show boat tickets. We're going to play Guess That Sound again. If we don't get them today, we will definitely be giving those away tomorrow. We got a pretty fun-packed show today. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. 1:06 in the afternoon in the middle of a blizzard. Poor Bridgette. Well, we should have known better. Whenever Bridgette has travel plans, Mother Nature always puts the kibosh on that. Congratulations, Bridgette, for not.
You're welcome.
Man, boy,
Mm-hmm.
I thought for sure you'd get out, but those winds, they just they were not cooperating, unfortunately.
I was literally on the phone with American Airlines at the time, and I think that the blizzard warning from the National Weather Service put the kibosh to a lot of that situation.
That pretty much did. We're sitting at 6 degrees right now. A 55-degree drop from yesterday. Now, the record 24-hour temperature drop is 59 degrees. Right now, we're in third place. We need to shave about 4 more degrees off between now and 3. I don't think that's going to happen, but still, this is pretty impressive in terms of just weather whiplash from one day to the next. And some of the snowfall totals, let's run down those real quick. It's officially 2.7 here in Fargo, Valley City at 6, Sharon at 6, Hannaford 6 inches, Grand Forks. What'd you guys get up there, Justin? Right around 6 inches, I think, in Grand Forks.
Yeah, 4 to 7, depending on what side of the town you're on.
Yeah.
South Forks picked up the most at about 7 inches.
Right. Let's see. Devil's Lake 4 inches, Wysocki 4 inches, Lemoore 3.3, Hazen about 1.5 inches. You get down towards Wahpeton, not much out towards Detroit Lakes either. So this is basically a 94 corridor northward event. There were unofficial reports of 13 inches out between Portland and Mayville. It's been a lot of question on that, on how official that is, but
probably measuring drifts.
Well, it's got to be. I mean,
the closest spot is 7.5 in Hatton. I mean, you can get that. I just don't think you did out of this storm.
No, I think a lot of it was blown blown off rooftops or whatever. But I mean, it was measured at 13 inches, but it was from the public, and again, I've got 13 inches in my driveway, but that was all blown off the roof. So, Justin's got a map there showing some of the snowfall totals around the area. But this was our biggest snow of the season. Unfortunately for our snowblower giveaway, I fell just short. Day's not done. Day's not done. We still have some snow showers moving in from the north there, but yeah, I don't
think it's going to happen.
We're gonna have to wait until the next storm. But man, and 45 days ago, we had near blizzard conditions and 1 inch of snow. 45 days. That coincides directly with the LRC cycle. So this will be back in 45 days. This same setup, which would be April 12th. It will be very interesting to see what this brings us in early April. Hopefully,
just in time for my birthday.
Hopefully rain.
You know how often I wake up to a foot or 2 of snow on my birthday?
A lot.
Than I'd like to. A lot. Often.
I think the answer is a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but what
We
a
can
difference.
hope.
Yeah, we were commenting on, yesterday I had my bike out on the trail, and today we'll be using the snow blower. It's just,
Should have bought a snowmobile, Dean.
yeah, we don't have that much.
That's
Yeah,
plenty.
but weren't you the one who?
You can prop around on a couple inches.
Yeah, but what, Bridge?
Justin was also the one who told Dean, "Don't buy a snowmobile this year." And now he says, "No, you should have bought a snowmobile."
Yeah.
Well, you should have bought one, dude. Why would you listen to me?
Yeah. Well, you can get them cheap now.
Yeah,
I know that. There's a lot of them on sale because they weren't put out this year. Oh man, but temperatures across the area in the single digits with wind chills currently at 20 below. So if you factor in the wind chills, we're 81 degrees colder today than it was yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, winds gusting
Nice.
winds gusting just shy of 50 miles an hour. And the blizzard warning continues from the FM area northward through the valley, and conditions won't improve until this evening when the winds start to taper off just a bit. So if you don't have to travel, no travel advisories, up and down 29 and going west on 94. So if you don't have to go anywhere, even in the city limits, visibilities have come up here within the last half hour, but there's still quite a bit of blowing snow, and you get out in the open areas, and it is just it can go to zero visibility in a heartbeat. So if you don't have to travel, you might want to wait until this evening if you can, because it's not nice out there. That's an understatement.
I think it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, for you.
It's a winter wonderland again, you guys. Everything was that beautiful bronze, and now we're at a more beautiful white.
Mm-hmm.
That's only for a day. Let's enjoy it.
Yeah.
Last Thursday or Friday, before the storm came in, this was I think a day both of you were gone for the first part of the show. I did a little snow competition for guess how much snow was going to fall over last night and throughout today. And we're still got to wait for the official number at midnight tonight. But Sue K, if you're listening, you are in the lead right now for a chance of winning that rain gauge.
What
So
did
be
Sue
listening
have?
tomorrow. She had 2.5.
Oh, nobody had 3?
2.5 inches of snow. You said 2.7, didn't
So
you?
far, yeah. So far.
Yep. So she is in the lead. The
Okay.
next closest was Dorothy at 3.5.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And we had a caller call in. Greg, he called, and this is towards you, Bridgette, asking if you knew anything about the term canners and cutters. He said it was a term used from the livestock market.
I'm going to ask Greg to maybe send me an email so I get a little more clear direction of what he's looking for. When he says livestock market, the first thing that comes to mind for me is probably poultry. Those that are going to be canned versus cut for fresh, like roasted chickens on the rotisserie type of thing. But I'm not sure if that's what he's getting to. So, Greg, if you want to send me an email, ag@flagfamily.com, it'll be easier for me to kind of sort that out and we can talk about it. That would be helpful. So thank you for that. Again, that's ag@flagfamily.com. So I will say that with a snow day like this, folks are doing all sorts of activities, whether it's at home learning today, whether it's an actual snow day. Phil, who listens to us out in Western Cass County, he was a little concerned to wake up to find some rhubarb thawing in his sink. He's not sure if he should be happy that there'll be rhubarb bread in his future, but I think he should know that it's going to be great. So Phil, enjoy the rhubarb bread. It's probably worth it.
Right. Oh, man. Hey, and if you have any road condition reports you want to pass along, feel free to give us a call, 701-293-9000. Again, that's our Red Wing Shoes hotline at 701-293-9000. I know there's still some people out and about there, and like I said, road conditions are poor at best. So let us know what you're seeing. If you've run into any accidents or cars in the ditches or places like, hey, stay off of this roadway. It's an absolute disaster. So
talking to people out in Bismarck as you go west,
right,
as we get away from the no travel advised, there is some icy spots. Seems like there may have been a little bit of light rain in Bismarck yesterday or around the Bismarck area before it started to snow last night. So just to keep that in mind, there may be some ice underneath that snow as well.
Doesn't surprise, yeah, because that temperature dropped quickly, and you can get some flash freezing when that occurs. So it's coming up on 1:15, and we have a special guest coming up here, Bridgette.
We are going to be joined by Greg Stemen. He is with Starion Bank. This is our Farm Finance Insider segment, and we definitely have some questions for him. There's a couple that were posed to us by listeners, and I know I have one more. I just got to go dig it out of my notes. But a couple of things talking about interest rates and the correlation with current crop input costs, and then also about bankers and mentoring some of their young farmers. So we'll definitely want to touch on that. Also, don't forget that if you are considering a job change, Morton Buildings is hiring. You might want to take this snow day and go to mortonbuildings.com/careers to check them out. Even on days like today where the weather is bad, you could still get bad weather pay. Maybe it's too hot, maybe it's too cold. Today, it's probably just a little bit too cold, and you can actually earn quarterly bonuses from them, room to advance, on-the-job training. There's lots of good things going on over at Morton Building, so check them out. If you are considering a career change, just wanting to do something a little bit different in your life today, Morton Buildings might be for you. So keep that in mind. And there'll be lots of other things to talk about. Justin, I know you're going to enjoy this. There's a new strawberry varietal that's coming out from USDA. It's plumper, juicier, and disease tolerant. Less chance of anthracnose.
I love all
and
three
mold.
of those.
So I think I might just enjoy that myself. So we'll talk about that strawberry and more when we come back.
Mixed to lower livestock trade being seen on Tuesday. You're listening to the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen with this market update. Well, let's take a look at where things stand in the livestock sector here as we work towards our close. We'll call it mixed to slightly lower here across cattle and hog futures as the market finding little interest from traders here today. No cash cattle trade has developed, and it's likely that trade will be delayed until later on in the week, it would appear. Box beef prices higher at midday. Choice up 45 cents, 302.24. Select up 273 at 290.72 per hundredweight. Meantime, feeder cattle complex trading lower along with live cattle as the market seems to be waiting for something, whether that's a weaker tone in corn prices, some action in the cash cattle market, or a positive move in the live cattle contracts. Feeders just seem to be at a stalemate at this point in time. Hog complex also hasn't found much support in Tuesday's market. Traders simply seem uninterested in doing much trading in this hog sector here today. Pork cutout values higher. The market could see trader interest improve, but traders could also wait till later in the week to see how export sales fare. Pork cutouts were up $1.85 at $92.84. As we take a look over at hog prices and trends, Dorchester, Wisconsin, Gardnerville, Iowa, we see $5 higher in both locations, barrows and gilts at 55. And again, quiet on cash cattle trade at midday. Lean hog index up 36, 79.46. Feeder cattle index up 196 at 246.64. You're listening to the American Ag Network.
Welcome to Soybean Minute, your source for timely soybean news.
I am North Dakota Soybean Council Director Dallas Luff of Wapaton. As farmers prepare for another growing season, give your diesel some thought with a few helpful tips. First, tank maintenance is important. Water is the #1 cause of diesel problems, leading to tank corrosion, bacteria, and fungus, and icing in cold temps. Check your tanks for water before you get started. If water is found, have it removed. Keep caps tight and regularly check for leaks. Keep your tank full to prevent excess air, which can lead to condensation and fuel degradation. Spring is also a good time to change your dispenser filter. Second, take advantage of biodiesel made from soybean and other plant oils. It provides lubricity, higher cetane, and it's renewable. Biodiesel blends up to 20% can be used in any diesel engine. Ask for a B20 blend for your next on-farm delivery. Learn more about biodiesel by visiting ndsoybean.org.
This message is brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Council and the Soybean Checkoff.
As we take a look at some of the numbers here ahead of the close, April hogs down to 86.25, May down 35.90.40. Feeder cattle March 67 lower 252.37, April down 77 258.12. Live cattle February down 10 185.62, April down 50 187.60. This is the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
And that's what a lot of people woke up to this morning when they saw that it was snowing and storming out there. Thanks for joining us and spending part of your day with us here on Weather and Ag in Focus. Now, caller Mark, he was very busy listening, and when he heard the term canners and cutters, he had a correction. His dad always used it to refer to butcher cows, like different types of meat. That's not a term I was familiar with, so I guess it's time for me to do a little more investigating now that we've heard a couple of different options on it. So thank you, Mark. I'll see what I can do to take care of that homework for us. And we have a guest joining us in studio today. So Dean, please don't scream at him like a goat. I'd appreciate it today. Thank you very much.
We'll try to be nice. We'll try to be nice.
Joining us is Greg Stemen. He is with Starion Bank. And welcome to our segment, Farm Finance Insiders. Greg, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Bridgette, and thanks a lot for having me once again. Good to be with you guys.
Thanks for making it in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an adventure.
Man.
Ooh.
So we had a couple of questions that came from listeners and thought we'd just start at the top and work our way through them. One of them was a farmer asking this question. He's a listener in Iowa. He said, do I need to be so concerned about higher interest rates when it's costing me 2 to 3 times more to put my crop in than in what it did maybe in the 1980s when my dad was farming? What do you think, Greg? Any insight into where he might be looking at that?
Well, I'm kind of curious now. If you're in a situation where you don't have to borrow any money, you don't need an operating line of credit. Well, I mean, then the cost drivers are your input costs. But if you, like typical with a lot of operators, you're going to have to borrow more money because of the increased cost of the inputs. And so when you look at a rate anywhere from, say, the high 6s to the low 9s, that's an additional $6,500 to $9,000 per year for each $100,000 you borrow. It does impact your margin, and if you need $1 million line of credit, you're looking at a fair amount of interest expense on top of increased input costs. And so I think it kind of affects it even more so than one might realize, just because as the costs increase, the cost of the money that you have to borrow to buy those products also increases. And I just think it does negatively impact your margin and allows you less room for error when it comes to mitigating your risk and making sure you have proper coverages in place. So I appreciate the question, and if I'm answering it in a manner that is not clear, I apologize for that, and I can try to do a better job of it next time.
Oh, I think you're spot on with it, and you're right. Even though we're looking at slightly lower interest rates than what we saw in the 80s, what we're going through right now with increased input costs is not pleasant. And even if with that increase in the in the input costs, margins were tight before, the outlook seems to be about a 2-year time frame here before we're going to see anything turn around. And have you read anything differently along those lines from analysts and so forth, Greg?
I have not, and I trust kind of where you're coming from. Those a lot of projections, and I think people are slow to get too optimistic, and I understand that. Just because you don't want to build up hopes that you can't deliver on. So they can prognosticate all they want, but until we actually see what ends up happening, it's hard to make decisions based on that.
So
I got a question.
Do you feel? Oh, sorry,
Go
Justin.
ahead,
Let me
Bridgette.
ask
Go
you one
ahead.
more. And as a banker, do you feel better right now if you're balancing the books for a guy who's raising row crops or a guy who's on an upward swing with beef cattle?
That's a great question. I don't know. Probably I'm just going to answer it from an experience standpoint. I've got some experience in the livestock side, but much more so on the row crop side. And so what it comes down to probably is comfort level from my standpoint, and I'm a little more comfortable in that arena.
I got one on when it comes to the general consumer with the pullback of interest rates over the last handful of months to a half of a year. We obviously went from interest rates in the 2 and 3% up to 7 and 8s and 9s, and now we've kind of pulled back into that 5, 6, 7, probably more around that 7% range. But with interest rates coming down a few percentage points, how has the attitude of the general consumer been changing? And it's kind of like, I guess, if you're going to relate it to the average day person in town, we went from $2.50 gas to $5 gas, and now we're sitting at $3 gas. It's not quite what it used to be, but it sure is better than what it was. How is that relating into the general consumer of banking and lending?
Well, I think there's still a level of general optimism, but people are feeling the sting on some of the basics, and I think it's noticeable. You talk about whether it's gas, groceries. We addressed that last time we had the conversation. The necessities, those costs have increased, and then it does get multiplied when you look at, if do you need to borrow funds regardless of what it is. I think one of the things, I don't know if we addressed this last time, but there's a lot of people that, refinanced houses at 2%, 2.5%, 2.75 for 15 years, and all of a sudden they're going to have to look at redoing this. If these things don't, if these rates don't come down, that makes a substantial difference on what your mortgage payment is. So I think there's still a fair amount of optimism, but I think people are getting more and more aware of the cost of money right now, and I think that factors into a lot of individual budgets and family budgets.
Now, Greg, when it comes to the Farm Bill, and I don't know if there's anything in the Farm Bill you may know, is there anything in the Farm Bill to help our ag community out with the higher interest rates? Like, is there anything special in there for low interest rate loans that you know of?
Not that I'm understanding, because they just extended what they had, is my understanding. So it really didn't change much as far as I know. And so, but it doesn't mean I'm gospel on that. I can do some research on that and get back to you on that as well.
Bridgette, do you know offhand?
I don't think I would agree with Greg. I don't think there's anything different there, but I did smirk a little bit because last couple of weeks, USDA announced that now farmers can repay their low interest loans via the internet. What a rousingly exciting concept that USDA is catching up to something that the IRS has been able to do for ages.
Very cutting edge. Yeah.
So, Greg, I also had this question come up from another young farmer, and he said, what are some things that my banker could maybe do to work with me in a mentoring sense? Are there things that he could teach me with his years of experience? And I was going to be curious where that might lead your discussion.
Well, it's a great question. One is there are a number of farmers there are a number of bankers that do run their farming operation. And if you have a banker that runs a successful farming operation, I think it's great to have those mentor-mentee discussions. From my standpoint, I would help facilitate that. I think what you always want to do is protect confidentiality of your customers at all times. That's a priority. But there may be experienced producers you have that would be great mentors, and so I think maybe having a discussion with them and cultivating some of the more experienced farmers in the area. I think they have great insight to share. There are some that don't want to necessarily share it, and there are some that say I'm more than happy to share kind of the secret. That some of the things that I do or the practices I have that have worked well for me doesn't mean they work well for that mentee, but the more information they can gather, and that's another thing that bankers can do, is you can facilitate some mentor-mentee group discussions, roundtable discussions. Bring some of the experienced producers in, bring some of the younger ones that maybe want to have as much insight as possible, and facilitate the exchange of information. I think those are great opportunities. I used to coach back in the day, and when you go to coaching clinics, you probably learn more after the clinic's over when you're sitting down with 4 or 5 people and just talking through things. And I don't think that's a whole lot different when it comes to the agricultural industry. You can sit down and have some informal conversations and learn a ton of stuff that can positively impact your operation.
Well, the best networking comes after the meeting.
Correct.
That's when everybody has a beer and they tell the real stories.
That's right. That is absolutely right.
So in just a couple of moments that we have, Greg, I think we can maybe answer, this was a question I had just last week. What's the difference of a farmer buying on a line of credit versus an operating loan? What would be some examples of purchases that could be done on either one or perhaps same?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, an operating line of credit is typically what you use, and what you want to do is you want to have the conversations that these are for the costs associated with funding your farming operation, your production and your harvest, everything in between, the spraying, whatever it might be. And you got to be careful. Now, people might be shocked that on occasion someone might use their operating line to purchase a vehicle in the short term, that's not necessarily part of your farming operation, or maybe, refurnish the living room. Oh, we'll use the operating line. Those are dollars that you've got to account for. And so it is good to sometimes share that with your banker. And if you say, well, if for expediency, if you want to use a line of credit, I can live with that. But what we're going to do is you're going to come in and we're going to finance that over the course of time if they can't fit it into their cash flow. So those conversations have to happen. Sometimes they have to happen after the fact, but it's always good to have proactive communication with your banker. Oh,
absolutely. And deciding, all right, if I'm trading equipment, buying a combine or a truck, where do I want to put that as far as my financing is concerned?
Absolutely. Typically, you want to set that up separately, and so there's no surprises after the fact. But no, I think those are things that you want to have conversations ahead of time. What can we afford? What makes the most sense? And what might present some challenges when it comes to meeting our obligations?
Well, Greg, I guess you probably would have maybe not been in favor of my dad's way of buying things, was when he would buy at auction and then say, well, I should call the banker now and tell him we got to cover this. So let's not do that.
It is not uncommon for that to happen, believe you me. Yes.
Oh, maybe you're just glad counter checks went away, where people could just walk into a business and pick up blank checks from a bank. So Dean and especially Justin is looking at me funny. This was real. When I grew up, you could literally walk into like Nodak in Linton, North Dakota, and there were blank checks there from 5 or 6 different area banks. And you could pick up a book of checks from your bank. You could write it out to the business you were in. You could sign it. Hopefully you remembered your account number, but generally no one did. And so then it just got sent off to the bank and got taken care of, drawn off your account. Those were counter checks.
Justin is looking at you thinking, what's a check?
Yeah.
What's a check?
I just wrote one yesterday.
Okay.
I remember counter checks too, so I'm dating myself. And so it's, counter checks have gone the way of the phone booth. Anytime I bring up a phone booth, some kids will look at me and go, I have no idea what you're talking about. But yeah.
Well, Greg, thank you for joining us. And you will again on the last Tuesday of March. We'll be together. I'm sure by then I will have another list of questions from listeners. And I encourage people to please send them to us at ag-or-weather@flagfamily.com. And you can always call us at our Red Wing Shoe phone line. That almost came out the Red Wing Shoe phone line. But the Red Wing Shoe phone line at 701-293-9000. Folks, it's the bottom of the hour. We'll catch up with weather and news. Be right back.
Making WDAY Radio your new number one with the news that matters to you.
I'm Tom Tucker, WDAY Radio News.
Accurate weather forecasts.
Today we're going to go down in the record book, calling for a high of 50.
And personalities that you can call friends.
Tony! That would not be a good thing. No.
We're proud to serve the Fargo-Moorhead Metro and the region beyond. AM 970 and 93.1. We are WDAY Radio.
Luther Family Buick GMC has the inventory you've been waiting for. Don't just settle for what's left over. Pick your favorite from our huge selection of new Buicks and GMCs. The shelves are stocked and the lot is full with rates as low as 0.9 on a new GMC Sierra 1500 or 0.9 financing on most new Buick models for qualified buyers. Bring your title and your trade and come in today while the selection is strong. Luther Family Buick GMC South Fargo. We are professional grade.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom Tucker, WDAY News First. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison is teaming up with DFL lawmakers, pushing legislation they say would rein in corporate power, including monopolies.
We're going to stand tall for small business, for small farmers, for consumers, so that we can have a competitive, robust, dynamic economy.
Ellison is pushing for reforms to the state's antitrust laws. Ellison says the bills are intended to increase competition in all sectors of the economy. Tough going across much of the Red River Valley because of snow and strong winds whipping up to 50 miles an hour. A couple of inches of snow have fallen in Fargo-Moorhead. Heavier snow has fallen north of the metro. 9.5 inches is reported in Portland, North Dakota, which is in Trail County. The Clay County DFL is holding their caucus today at 3 locations. The events will allow voters to learn more about candidates, the party's platform, select delegates for upcoming conventions, and more. Caucus locations are at Barnesville High School, Holly High School, and at the MSUM Comstock Memorial Union. Chipotle Mexican Grill is opening its first location in Moorhead Thursday. The new location is along Highway 10 near Target and Cashwise. Tom Tucker, WDAY, and WDAYRadioNow.com.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thank you for making a difference this Giving Hearts Day. Because of you, more than 600 organizations will continue to do even more good across our region. Your generosity isn't just about dollars raised. It's about uplifting the people who are tackling the needs of our community every single day. Thank you for helping someone with your time, talent, and treasure this Giving Hearts Day. Together, we can make a lasting impact.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
Gotta get the bread and milk. I gotta get the bread and milk. I gotta get the bread and milk. I gotta get the bread and milk. Oh my God, I gotta get the bread and milk. I gotta get the bread and milk. I gotta get the bread and milk.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Hopefully you got your bread and milk before this wonderful blizzard hit most of the valley. If you're just tuning in, we picked up just under 3 inches so far, just under 3 inches of snow here in the FM area, and higher amounts as expected. Our models did pretty well in handling this system with the higher amounts, let's say from up around Hillsboro over towards Mayville and up through Grand Forks and off into northwest Minnesota around Crookston and Thief River. So areas got quite a bit, some areas 6 inches or more, and the majority of us got about 2 to 4 throughout the area. So a decent, a normally minor storm, but again, you factor in winds of up to 59 mile-an-hour wind gusts were a peak gust this morning. Boy, yeah, that'll cause
That's nice.
That'll cause some big problems. And keep in mind, this will be back in 45 days. And
I just want to point out that
you're not
this
traveling
was
in
supposed
45
to come.
days, are you?
Well, let's not even start with that.
Okay.
But this was supposed to come tomorrow after I was already gone for Commodity Classic.
It is a day early. Yep. And that happens.
Yes, it is.
From cycle to cycle. It can vary a day or so. So, but it was right on track, according to the LRC.
I'm not sure if you heard me roll my eyes, but I might have, because sure it can, guys. Thanks a lot.
Oh, man. Well, we've got some ag topics to cover here, right, Bridgette?
We do. We've got a number of things that are going on. So first of all, I teased Justin about his new strawberries that he's going to have to look out for. There is indeed a new variety that's being released. It's called the Lumina strawberry. And it's the best part about it is some of its disease resistance and tolerance package. It has a very bright berry. They're large. They're a sweet berry. They are going to be bred for the mid-Atlantic states, and so they will have cold weather tolerances to them. And their foliar disease package is much better. So it preventing low rot at harvest, as well as it'll go into storage better after harvest. And then often you'll find anthracnose fruit rot in berries, and that destroys a high number of them. But this particular berry is going to be tolerant to that anthracnose, and so you won't even have the problems during storage that you may have had with some other berries. So that's a positive. And as soon as I can get my hands on some, Justin, I'll share. We'll plant some and see what they look like.
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna say, send me a link for that so I can keep an eye out for them as well.
Okay. Well, now because they were bred for the Mid-Atlantic, we do have to watch our gardening zones to make sure that they'll overwinter here. But strawberries also do very well in pots. And so perhaps you just have to bring your pots into the garage to overwinter so that they have a little downtime and they'll still survive pretty well.
And Bridgette, I sent you an article earlier about caffeine being a natural pesticide. Is this something that farmers are using, or?
Oh, I wouldn't say that farmers are using, because if you consider the volume that you have to use, it would be rather unprofitable. You know, you're just going to have to use such a high rate of it that for it actually to be effective, that it's just going to be pricing itself out of the market. But surprisingly, you'll also find as you look at charts for LD50s, which is the breakdown chart, that how long does it take for a substance to break down in nature? There's a lot of pesticides out there that actually break down faster than caffeine. Caffeine will stay around a lot longer. I'll see if I can find one of those charts and post that to our website, which gives you a breakdown of where they fall in what range.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, okay, so back to that gardening thing for just a second. Also, there's a lot of garden plants that were brought here, whether it was into the US or even into our states, that were introduced as ornamentals. Some of them are getting a bit out of hand. And so, in fact, the National Weed Science Society of America has released a list of 39 plants that are ornamentals but are now becoming noxious weeds. We already knew about things like leafy spurge, which you'll see as a dull yellow color in the roadside ditches in the summer. That's a noxious weed. And also purple loosestrife. That started out as a pretty tall, spiky flowering plant that had a big purple seed head on it. And purple loosestrife loves water areas, and it now has gotten into some river and stream places where it's sucking up too much moisture and choking out other native vegetation. So keep an eye on those ornamentals. Sometimes they don't go places they don't belong.
Right. Did you pick up any new variants or new hybrids that you're going to be growing this year in your garden, Bridgette?
That's a good question. I think my seeds have already arrived, except for maybe the onion sets. And I don't know if I have changed up much of anything this year, because I was really happy last year with some snowy white cauliflowers. And I found a broccoli that finally doesn't leave a bitter aftertaste after it gets a little later into the season. And sometimes they get kind of leggy and their taste isn't quite as fresh. I'll look at which ones they were and probably send you a copy of the seed packets, because I know that might be something that you would like to look at too.
Yeah,
Or
I'm
I'll
looking
share.
for
I probably have extra.
I'm looking for a broccoli variant. I'm gonna try it for the first year. But what seed company do you use?
I'm still a big fan of the old-fashioned Gurneys. Some of my seed comes from there. And then this year I've also ordered from Territorial Seed Company. They do a really nice job of having some of those more heritage varieties when I want those.
See, I've been going through Burpee and Jung seed out of, pretty sure it's out of Wisconsin.
All of those are quality companies. And that's what is probably the thing to pay attention to most. If you plant seeds in your garden, or even if you plant in the field and you're concerned about your germination rates and they didn't do very well, it could have to do with the seed quality. To be honest, there are a number of seed companies that have concerns right now that not all of their seed that was raised last year, whether it be for corn, soybeans, etc., not all of those seeds have met their quality control standards. And so there will be some seed that's not available going into the 2024 season, because after our dry weather last year, not all the seed was going to be great and germinate well. Think about that.
Dean, have you decided if you're going to do a garden this year? Patio garden?
I've got to get first. I've got to get the cow out of the basement. That's step number one.
Oh God, how'd it get down there?
Oh, don't ask. Yeah. So, but after that, then I'm thinking of tilling up part of the side, because there's a side between my yard and the neighbor's yard, and just kind of fencing that off and just throwing dirt, leveling it off, and putting a nice like elongated garden on that whole side of the house. My problem is it doesn't get a lot of sun on that side of the house, which might be a problem. So,
Dean, have I got a deal
Grow
for
lights.
you? Okay, I know you don't. There are some things that you can do when you have low sunlight like that, but
Tinfoil.
there is now a short, not the one on your head. There's now a short statured corn, which is going to make corn mazes so much better for you and I. This is awesome. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so generally speaking, when you look at field corn, you're talking about plant heights of 9 to 12 feet tall. Short statured corns that are being released in the U.S. are going to be more like 7 feet or under. Now, they're still going to have similar yields. In fact, the yield is being worked on. Of course, right now, some folks think that there might be a little bit of a yield drag until they get up to the same levels as what was being done with the previous hybrids of corn, but they're looking at raising up the yield. The reason to have shorter stature corn was, we had a couple derechos. We had one in August of 2020 down in Iowa that leveled a lot of corn. We also had one in South Dakota. Was it May of 21 or 22, you guys? Do we remember? Was it 22?
I think it was 22.
When we had that storm go through?
That was the one that moved from south to north.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, your corn is shorter than in the growing season anyway, so it doesn't have as much damage. But when you think about situations like that, short stature corn makes a big difference in allowing that plant to use a few less nutrients out there. withstand some of those 50-mile-an-hour winds better and not lay down. Also, when it comes to the short-statured corn, work is being done to make sure that it has uniform ear height, which we already do in our standardized corn hybrids, because that makes a difference when you're coming through with combines, is that your ears want to be in the same location on the plant at the same height, so you're not constantly adjusting your header height in order to be combining those ears. So short-statured corn, you, me, and the kindergartners are going to a corn maze.
And Bridgette, do we cover yesterday about farmers reporting emissions? Did we touch on that yesterday?
We didn't really talk about farmers taking on some of the emissions standards that are happening, but it's more and more prevalent to them. Now, there's a farmer out of South Dakota. He's in the eastern half of the state, says he's already been doing this for about 10 years because he raises corn specifically for ethanol. But when you listen to David Ripplinger from North Dakota State University talk, and he is an ag economist who deals very specifically in the ethanol business, he said, it's not that far-fetched that more and more of our reporting methods are going to have to include emissions, carbon footprints, carbon indexing, greenhouse gas, either reductions or releases. So that's going to factor into some of the programs that farmers can qualify for when it comes to these greenhouse gases, et cetera. So I don't think it's a surprise. We already know that there are parties out there who will be doing like a third-party verification on behalf of farmers. Mm-hmm. It adds another cost to your bottom line, but it may be something that can repay you if you fall into the right programs for them too.
Gotcha. Well, we're
a lot of things going on.
Yeah, we're coming up on break now. We got to pay a few bills here, but when we come back, let's see if we can give away those Sportsman Show tickets. We'll play Name That Sound to see if you can guess what animal it is. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The great outdoors awaits you as Happy Harry's presents the Sportsman Show, February 29th through March 3rd at the Fargo Dome. With hundreds of resorts and lodges on hand, you can plan your vacation right at the show. See fishing boats, pontoons, campers, RVs, the best brands at the best prices. There's live trout fishing, free fishing seminars, and Bawana Jim's Wildlife Show. It's the Sportsman Show, February 29th through March 3rd at the Fargo Dome. Show information at fargosportshow.com. A Sonenko production.
Hi, this is Kevin Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer's Auction Company. Pfeiffer's February 2024 auctions include farm equipment retirement auctions and 1,500 acres of crop and pasture land in Eddy County, North Dakota, 152 acres of hunting land in Rolette County, north of Dunseith, North Dakota, 320 acres of cropland in Kidder County, north of Steele, North Dakota, and 566 acres of cropland in Stutzman County near Jamestown, North Dakota. View these incredible auctions and many more land and equipment auctions at Pfeiffers.com.
Attention motivated individuals. Plains Grain and Agronomy is seeking a precision ag service technician to join the team. If you're passionate about agriculture and thrive in a hands-on role, this is your opportunity. From running parts counter to providing technical support, your skills will make a difference. Apply today and become part of Plains Grain and Agronomy's dynamic team. Visit plainsgrain.com for details. That's plainsgrain.com.
Hi, Vince from Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables 2. I get it. You don't want to buy a hot tub. Too much money, too much work, never going to use it. Everything you've heard about why not to buy a hot tub, I've heard it too. But here's the deal. You want to be the best possible version of yourself. Be a better husband, wife, mom, or dad. Walk better, talk better, do everything better because of hot water than doing without it. Guaranteed. Save on all remaining 2023 models. Your wellness is within reach. Unleash the best possible you with Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables 2.
I absolutely love my white goose down blanket because it has superior insulating power because it is goose.
Well, it is. And, you know, I, for Christmas, had gotten a 6-piece towel set, and we've got extra people being in the house for the holidays. So the towels are needed. I got my stepson a terry cloth robe. I mean, you too can get fantastic stuff at mypillow.com. Just click on the radio listener square using promo promo code WDAY and save big.
Other great specials including the Roll and Go Anywhere My Pillows. They have the best sheets ever, my slippers in different styles, and also the My Pillow 2.0, all available at mypillow.com using the promo code WDAY.
Or call 800-875-0644. That's 1-800-875-0644 and enter promo code WDAY to save big on your holiday deals at mypillow.com.
Morton Buildings is hiring, so whether you're switching careers or just graduating high school, listen up. Hey, Will here. I'm 23 years old. I found my groove with a nationally recognized brand, doing what I love with an awesome crew and making some serious bank. Morton doesn't just pay well, they've got bad weather pay. Even if it's too hot or too cold, I still get paid up to 100 hours, whether I use them or not. Last year, I won a trip to Jamaica just for doing my job. And get this, quarterly bonuses. Why wouldn't you join the team? Go to mortonbuildings.com/careers for a career that's awesome. Don't wait, your future is calling with Morton Buildings.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. 1:50 in the afternoon, and we've got a caller on line one. He's got a question. Is it Andrew?
No, it's
Matthew.
Your favorite.
Oh man, not this
Yeah,
Matthew.
so,
Oh.
Yep. So I have an early
Get him,
guess
Matt.
on the sounder. Can you play that again?
What's that?
I have an early guess on the sounder. Can you play that again?
Hold on.
Yep, I got it down. That is Dean's stomach about 30 minutes after a Taco Bell visit. I'm 100% sure.
All right, well, that is not correct, Matt, but hey.
Actually, I have a serious question, though. So you were talking about the storm cycling back around in April, the first week, and you said hopefully it's rain. I mean, obviously we have the master of the LRC on the line here. Come on, tell us, is it going to be rain or is it going to be snow?
Each cycle is different. We know the storm will be there. It very well may be severe weather like they're getting today in areas of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio and Kentucky. They're supposed to have a big severe weather outbreak there. Usually in April, once that jet starts to lift a little further north, usually we get in on a little warmer side of these storms. But those March and April storms can be finicky. There will be parts of the state that on these next couple of cycles that could get blizzard conditions. On the other side of the state gets severe weather. So it's something we'll keep an eye on. We've got it on the calendar, though.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Matt. Have a good one. All right. So for a pair of Sportsman Show tickets for this weekend, name this sound.
From now on, I'm picking the sounds. You guys are no good at this.
Do you know what it is?
The brakes on the plane that was supposed to take me to Houston.
701-293-9000 for a pair of Sportsman Show tickets for this weekend. I'll give you a little clue. Do you guys have any clue at all? All right,
No.
I'll give you.
That's a no.
I'll give you a clue. This animal mates for life. This animal mates for life. 701-293-9000. What's that?
I was gonna shout one out and I forgot I'm not supposed to.
One more. Okay, for a pair of tickets for the Sportsman Show. What was that sound? It's a different one. Well, until we get some call, I think we stumped a lot of people there. So you want to cover a couple more ag topics until we get some guesses in here, Bridgette?
I can, but I have a quick question about that sound.
Yeah?
Does that sound come from something that has wings?
It does.
Then I guess I better keep that rest of that guess to myself.
Put it in our instant messenger. See if let's see if you're right here. No, you're wrong. No, much smaller. Much smaller.
Okay, I thought it was a murder chicken, also known as a Canadian goose,
or a
because
flying
they do mate for
carp.
life. Yeah, flying carp, sky carp.
Is my guess correct?
All the above.
Yeah, that I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah, not sure.
I'm not sure. I'm guessing no. All right, so we have let's take a caller on line one. Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Can I get your name, please?
What animal mates for life?
That
He?
I think she's talking to somebody in the background. Hello, caller. What's your name, please? And what's your guess? Hello, caller. 3, 2,
See you later.
1.
Bye.
Adios.
Goodbye. Call again.
You can hear her talking to somebody in the background. What animal mates for life? There's a few of them out there. So, again, 701-293-9000 for a pair of tickets to the Sportsman Show. If we don't get an answer today, we'll give these away tomorrow. So, Bridgette, go ahead. Let's hit an ag topic real quick.
So right now, livestock numbers, we have the lowest inventory that we have had in quite some time. In fact, we right now have the smallest U.S. beef cow herd since 1961, and our overall cattle inventory is the lowest it's been since 1951. That doesn't mean we're seeing a real drop in beef prices, though. The beef market is currently experiencing a good chance for profitability. We are seeing that there are about 28 million beef cattle in the U.S. And so of those cattle, they're still efficiently producing more beef than we did back in those numbers of the 60s, et cetera, because we've just done such a much better job with breeding and genetics to make sure that we have the best animals out there. Do we think that the numbers will continue to drop? Potentially, because especially as you see some herd dispersions that are happening. But overall, we're not going to run out of beef. We're still going to continue to have that. It's unfortunate, though, when I have people asking if we're going to see the price of beef drop at the grocery store. Remember, we're coming into the summer grilling season, and I don't foresee that. Beef prices have continued to stay up, and they are something that people, it's one of the favorite proteins that people continue to enjoy. So, yes.
You just got to do what I do. Go, ask the butcher at your local store, when do you put out typically the soon to expire meat? You get that, you flash freeze it, and boom, you save half off, and it's still good. I got a roast the other day, a huge roast for like $10. It was great.
It's always good to freeze those things and keep them if at all possible, right? That's a great way to preserve for the future.
Absolutely.
So
we have Michelle on line 1. Michelle, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Do you have any idea what that animal is?
An osprey?
It is not. No. Good guess, though, Michelle. Good guess. 701-293-9000 if you have any guesses. And again, it's an animal that mates for life. That's your clue. Yeah.
Very interesting.
I liked that Michelle had that guess right there.
I like that. All right, line 1. We've got Beth on line 1 here. Yeah. Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus, Beth. Do you have any idea what that sound is?
Swans.
It is not a swan, Beth, but good guess. I think they're going on the animal that mates for life clue. Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Can I get your name, please?
Daryl.
I'm sorry?
Daryl.
Daryl, hey, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. What animal is that? Daryl, any guess?
Yeah. It'd be a goose, wouldn't it?
It is not a goose. No, it's not a goose. All right. We got time for maybe one more caller here. We've got caller on line 1. Can I get your name, caller?
Sue.
Hi, Sue. Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Do you have any idea what animal that is for a pair of Sportsman Show tickets?
I'm going to say a black vulture.
No, it's not.
Ooh.
That's a good guess, though.
Guess.
That is a good guess. Thanks for calling, Sue. We appreciate it. So that will do it. We're running out of time here, so we'll continue this tomorrow. See, now this gives everybody a time to kind of do a little research. Okay, it's an animal that mates for life, and we kind of know what the sound is. So we'll give away those tickets tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have somebody that knows exactly what it is. So you guys you have no clue, huh?
I sent a guess in the chat.
Nope, you're wrong on that too. You're right that
all 9?
Oh geez, I didn't open that one. Let's see. Yep, one of them is in there.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
right.
So you've got one of them. So I want to thank everybody for joining us on Weather and Ag in Focus. Again, travel not advised throughout the area for the rest of the afternoon. Wait till evening. Conditions will improve. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.
Lots of things can cause back pain, like discs, nerves, joints.